These guys obviously. This is a tough out. This team plays hard. They're physical. Got a lot of really good players. Offensively, quarterback's playing better. Has gotten better really every week. These last 2 weeks, playing pretty good ball, efficient. He's got weapons with Moore out there, and he's got 13 in the slot, and then the rookie, Komet, tight end. O-line is, they've been banged up, but they're back, and and they're doing a pretty good job. They're going to try to run it, get Swift on the perimeter. Swift's doing a good job. He's been a good asset for them. And then defensively, it's kind of the anchor of this team. I mean, always has been Steve Line, Sweat, those guys up front really bring it. Man, the backers, Edwards, flies and hits. Edmonds, Johnson's playing outstanding out on the perimeter. They got Bird, who's playing really well. So just a ton of good players, run and hit defense, good special teams crew. And this is going to be a hell of a test. It's going to be a hell of a test.
You strike me as a kind of master motivator. How much of the message has been just turn this thing around on Thanksgiving, and how much is that important for you guys, for us to think 7 on Thanksgiving now? Is that part of the message about this?
Well, I think the message is really recovery, rest, recovery, and the mental work. It's how fast can you recover, get your body right, get your mind focused on the job at hand, because you're not going to get the physical. Block out all the distractions. That's one thing. The distractions are on us, not on them. We got all our family here, friends, all that. You got to block it out. Tell them you love them, and you'll see them after the game. That's kind of the challenge with all this. So, look, this team's been. They've lost a couple of heartbreakers here the last 2 weeks, but they've been in a bunch of these tight races, and they just keep coming back for more. So they're hungry for a win, and we got our hands full.
Dan, for the recovery and rest portion of your comment, with 6 guys on the list today that didn't participate in the walkthrough or whatever, how many of those do you expect will be tough to get to Thursday to play?
So that's tough to say. I've got the list right here. It's that's tough. I think there's probably 3 of them that I think it may be hard to get them there, but it's really a day-to-day. It really is. We're going to know a lot more about some of these guys tomorrow than we do today, and then, it's going to come down to the wire with a number of them. That's the challenge with the short week. The good news is I think most of these are not some long-term thing, but the problem is 3 days to turn around and play. That's where it becomes a bit of an issue. So if we can't, we're prepared like we always are, next man up. You got to hold the line, do your job, and go compete. Well, right now, Decker, CD, Leaf, those would be. Saint's a little banged up. We'll see how he recovers.
Back to Tim's question. Even if it's not a big point of the messaging, how important is it for you to snap that streak? You guys have rewritten history in a lot of ways. It's just to sort of get on the track.
Yeah, look, nobody likes losing. I don't want to lose, so I don't want to lose a game. And I don't think any of us do, but it's more so it's about, a division opponent at home, the next one in front of us more so than don't want to, lose a Thanksgiving game. We don't want to lose, period. So I think that's really more what this is. This is a big game, division opponent, and these carry a lot of weight.
They had another week, another Aaron Glenn meme sitting with his legs crossed over, relaxed in the fourth quarter. Despite all the injuries, despite all the best shots you're getting from other teams, how does he continue to draw up such a great defensive game plan?
That's just him, man. He puts in the work, He puts in the work. He's creative. He does a good job of understanding what our players do well, putting them in position to have success, and where we feel like we can have the most have the biggest advantage on our opponent. So that's where it all starts. That's the way it is. But you don't get that way without putting the work in. And I'm telling you, he grinds and grinds on it. So, I haven't seen that, but believe me, he's never that relaxed. Okay, he's doing a hell of a job.
With Mosley, clearly there's mental hurdles to get over, and on top of the physical hurdles.
With who? I'm sorry.
Mosley.
Oh yeah.
You just wanted to get him out there and open it up a little bit. Look like on special teams. How far away is he from being ready to contribute on defense if you need him?
Oh yeah, he's ready. I mean, I think that was this game yesterday was big. I had to think about that. That was yesterday. That was big. To be able to. For him, I mean, really hadn't played in 2 years, and to be able to go out there and know that, okay, I can trust this, I can trust my body. He went out there, competed, did a good job on teams for us. But yeah, I think he's ready. I think he's ready, and we're not afraid to use him.
Last week, you said you were kind of, throwing out the stuff from the beginning of the year, paying more attention to the recent games. Is that kind of a similar case with Caleb Williams, given the change in the offensive coordinator? Can you really draw much from the early season stuff, or is it going to be a lot of the stuff from the last 2 games?
Well, a lot of the focus is these 2 games, but we look at all of it. We look at every one of the games that they've played, because there's things that they've had success on they're still using. They haven't just thrown everything out the window. There's still things that they hang their hat on. But I think more of it is about the procedure of it over the last 2 games. Just some of the things they're doing, a little bit more shifts, motion, pre-snap, perfect play, and so it's that. Now, this will be their first road game, with him calling it and doing things just a tick different. So that'll be interesting. But they're doing well, and Thomas is doing, he's calling a couple of good games, man, and they're putting up yards, they're converting on 3rd down, and they're having success.
What is the last 3 days, Jeff, just in general, like this week, look like for you, and bigger picture, I guess, like, you ever allow yourself to get sick? I mean, you can't really, there's not much that you can.
No, you don't get to get sick. You don't get sick. That doesn't exist. You roll. So I think at one point 3 years ago or whatever that was, I think I had COVID, but I don't remember. So you just go. But no, we're good, and that's the coaches are in that boat too. We just roll, so all good.
Wednesday to sleep this week?
What's that?
Did you wait for Wednesday to sleep this week?
This week always reminds me, listen, it's nowhere even close to the same. It reminds me of Hell Week with the SEALs. When you hear them talk about that, and it's like whatever, they get an hour or whatever, and then the bell rings and you're gone. You're on to the next thing. So it's like these just, every once in a while, these power naps, right? You just hit it and then you're up, and then maybe, so that's kind of where we're at, man. Just enough to refresh the brain and hit it again.
I know yesterday's game probably feels like a year ago to you now already. What showed up on the tape? I mean, you had guys who were hurt, guys maybe doing different type roles. What did you see in the film from yesterday?
You're talking about the guys who have filled in?
The linebackers, how those are shuffled?
Yeah. Yeah, those guys did a good job. First of all, we used Long more than we thought we might. And we just, man, as that game went on, getting David in there felt like, man, this is he had a grasp of the calls going into the game, and we felt like it was kind of more his type of game, And so we started out and we used Neiman. He was solid. He's got a role, helps us on teams, and then we threw David in there, and man, he showed up. He made some plays in space for us, and so that was good. And then look, Jack and Rodrigo, man, those guys played their rears off. I mean, they really did. They were all over the field. And those 2 guys, man, you talk about, keeping things together. There's a number of people involved, but those 2 guys are, a couple of staples for us. I mean, they played outstanding, and that's not going to go away. Those guys are good football players for us.
Excuse me, St. Brown and Gibbs did a crossover kind of mimic of Allen Iverson and then stepping over Ty Lue, kind of a reference into a finals game 20 years ago. And it seems to me the celebrations have been pretty clever and fun lately. I'm curious. Is St. Brown maybe on his head? The rolling of the dice with Williams,
Yeah.
Montgomery, which was. I'm just curious. What is this something y'all ever talk about? Did you ever do it yourself when you scored a touchdown?
No.
I mean,
Spike was about as far as I got.
It's just gotten really fun. The league lets it happen, which I think is
Yeah.
fun for the fans.
Well, it depends on what that is, whether the league lets it happen, right? They'll use whatever they need to, the content, but keep going.
No, just what do you think of these celebrations and how clever they're getting?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not, I don't really get caught up in it. I tell our guys, hey, as long as you don't cost us 15 and I'm good with whatever they do. So they have fun with it. They are creative. They like to push the boundaries of whatever those are, and they are. So I know our guys have fun with it, and I think that's important. They enjoy it, and so it's all good. But I haven't seen everything. I hadn't had a chance to see everything unless my wife sends it to me, and then I get it. But I'm glad they have a good time with it.